Behind every great fortune lies not just smart investments, but masterful psychological strategies. The ultra-wealthy don't just think differently about money. They manipulate perception, influence decisions, and maintain psychological advantages that most people never recognize. Stay till the end for the most powerful psychological technique that billionaires use to maintain their wealth and power. And if you're fascinated by the psychology of success, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more. Let's explore the top 10 psychological tricks used by billionaires. 10. Strategic incompetence. Billionaires use strategic incompetence to gain advantages in negotiations by pretending to be ignorant. This makes others reveal information, thinking they're teaching. Mark Zuckerberg and Warren Buffett both use this tactic to appear less knowledgeable while gaining valuable insights and underestimating their true abilities. 9. The contrast principle. The world's wealthiest individuals systematically leverage contrast to influence perceptions and decisions. When making offers, they first present an extreme anchor, a deliberately unreasonable proposal, making subsequent offers seem reasonable by comparison. During acquisitions, billionaires like Carlos Slim first discuss apocalyptic business scenarios before presenting their offer, making their terms seem generous despite being below market value. Similar techniques appear in salary negotiations, where initial lowball offers make subsequent slight increases feel like victories to recipients. The psychological power comes from how our brains process information relatively rather than absolutely. Even in personal interactions, billionaires apply this principle by occasionally displaying stern behavior, making their normal demeanor seem exceptionally warm by contrast. This calculated manipulation of perception creates significant advantages in negotiations without the other party ever recognizing the psychological influence. 8. Deliberate vulnerability displays. Counter to expectations, billionaires strategically reveal carefully chosen vulnerabilities to build trust and loyalty. By sharing specific personal struggles or admitting particular mistakes, they create the illusion of complete transparency while actually controlling the narrative. Research shows that revealing vulnerability creates disproportionate trust because it triggers reciprocity. We instinctively trust those who appear to trust us. Richard Branson masterfully employs this technique, openly discussing his dyslexia and business failures, while maintaining strict privacy around his actual decision-making processes. The key distinction: billionaires display vulnerability around circumstances or external factors, but rarely around their core competencies or character. This calculated authenticity creates deep loyalty from employees and partners, while maintaining their psychological advantage in relationships. 7. The ownership experience manipulation. Billionaires use psychological ownership to drive loyalty without giving up control. They create the feeling of ownership through tools like stock options and questions like, "What would you do if this were your company?" Elon Musk uses this to make employees feel like co-owners, boosting commitment while keeping control. The smartest move: letting others suggest ideas they already planned, so people feel invested without gaining real power. 6. The scarcity loop. The ultra-wealthy create artificial scarcity to boost the perceived value of their time and opportunities. By limiting access, keeping packed schedules, and using gatekeepers, they trigger urgency and FOMO. Bernard Arnault uses this in luxury branding by limiting product availability. Billionaires often schedule short, precise meetings to pressure quick decisions. This strategy makes people more eager, compliant, and deferential. 5. Temporal distortion. Billionaires manipulate time to gain an edge. They delay when buying to pressure sellers and set tight deadlines when selling to force fast decisions. Jeff Bezos uses future-backed thinking, speaking as if future goals have already happened to build commitment. They also simplify long journeys into quick success stories, making their rise seem inevitable. By controlling time perception, they shape decisions and enhance their image. 4. Strategic unpredictability. Billionaires often use unpredictability as a tactic to keep others off balance. Steve Jobs praised then rejected ideas to keep teams alert, while Ray Dalio challenged consensus to spark tension and avoid groupthink. This unpredictability creates stress, reducing resistance and increasing deference. Behind the scenes, though, they stay highly predictable in the routines that grow their wealth. 3. Control through concession. Billionaires secure their most important objectives by strategically conceding on less significant issues, creating the illusion of compromise while maintaining advantage on what truly matters. This technique leverages the reciprocity principle. We feel compelled to give something when we receive something. During negotiations, they identify the other party's emotional needs, often recognition, feeling heard, or small wins, and satisfy these while holding firm on economic terms. Jeff Bezos demonstrates this in Amazon's approach to vendor negotiations, making accommodations on payment schedules or marketing support, while maintaining ironclad positions on fundamental profit margins. The psychological power comes from how receiving any concession activates our brain's reward centers, creating satisfaction that often exceeds the actual value gained. This technique proves particularly effective because most people cannot distinguish between emotionally satisfying concessions and economically significant ones. 2. The Pygmalion effect leverage. The ultra-wealthy systematically harness the Pygmalion effect, the psychological phenomenon where higher expectations lead to improved performance. Billionaires selectively express extreme confidence in certain individuals, who then unconsciously elevate their performance to match these expectations. Bill Gates famously employed this technique, telling selected Microsoft employees they were the smartest people he'd ever met, creating extraordinary motivation and results. The dark application involves expressing doubt about others, creating self-fulfilling prophecies of underperformance that justify reduced opportunities or compensation. This psychological leverage extends beyond individuals to entire markets, where billionaire expectations can create momentum simply through expressed confidence. Most powerfully, they apply this principle to themselves through identity-based self-talk that creates performance-enhancing expectations rather than mere goals. 1. Reality distortion through narrative control. The most powerful psychological advantage billionaires maintain is their ability to shape reality through controlled narratives. By understanding that perception often matters more than objective truth, they invest heavily in crafting and maintaining specific stories about themselves, their companies, and their success. Steve Jobs' reality distortion field exemplifies this approach. His absolute conviction in seemingly impossible goals actually warped others' perception of what could be achieved. This narrative control extends to how billionaires frame failures as learning experiences, challenges as opportunities, and wealth itself as responsibility rather than privilege. The technique's power comes from how our brains process stories more readily than facts, making narratives neurologically dominant over objective reality. By controlling the stories we tell about wealth and success, billionaires shape social perceptions that protect their positions while creating psychological environments that continue to benefit them regardless of actual performance. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thanks for watching.